Welcome back to JB Reviews. I have a 2023 Chevy Colorado and a 2023 Chevy Silverado. These trucks both have the 2.7 4-cylinder turbo engine, and this is the question I'm going to ask you guys. Which one makes more sense? Special shout out to Jerry Seiner Chevrolet here in Salt Lake City. If you are in the market, they actually have 3 Colorados available and they have more coming in. So be sure to reach out to these guys. Let's get into the video. Now listen, when you think about the size of a mid-size pickup, this is why I think most people are probably going to go this route. However, the exact same thing can be said about this Colorado. Now let's discuss the size of these pickup trucks. Let's start off with the Silverado. Now when we think about the length of this truck, right? This truck is a crew cab, and the bed is probably like a 5.5 foot bed, might be a little bit bigger than that. This truck is 231 inches, 231.88 inches to be exact. The Chevy Colorado is 213 inches. That is an 18.88 inch difference in size. That's a pretty big difference, guys. Almost 20 inches goes to the Chevy Silverado. As far as the width goes, the Chevy Silverado is about 81.24 inches wide. Now that's not including the mirrors, unfortunately. On this side, it's 74.90. That's 6.34 inches of width that the Silverado has on the Colorado. What about the wheelbase? You can't even see the Silverado from this point of view here. This Colorado has a wheelbase of 131.4 inches. The Silverado has 147.4. That is 16 inches of more wheelbase for this Silverado. When you think about the wheelbase, especially if you think about towing, that's going to come in handy to have a longer wheelbase. That's why most dually trucks come with a longer bed, because it gives it a longer wheelbase. But here's something most guys have to consider. Living out here in Utah, I am so happy I have a garage, because every time you leave your car outside in the driveway, best believe it's gonna look like this in the morning time. It is so dusty out here. And who likes to clean trucks weekly? I don't clean my cars but once a month. So having a garage comes in handy, because that means my trucks can stay a little bit cleaner longer because it doesn't rain that much out here. So with that being said, the reason why this truck makes a lot more sense is because it's a lot easier to keep clean, it's a little bit smaller, and it will fit in just about every garage out there. Now don't get me wrong, this Silverado will probably fit in most garages too, but it will be very, very tight when you consider the sheer size of these Colorado pickups. And again, everyone has a different use for their pickup. So this smaller size probably suits most truck buyers. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that both of these pickups have the 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine. Be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be doing a fuel economy run and acceleration test with both of these trucks, so be sure to check that video out. Now, if you are looking at a Silverado, this truck does have the high output iteration of this engine, 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, made it to an 8-speed transmission. Now, although this is the exact same displacement turbocharged engine, the performance is slightly different on this truck. This 2.7 liter is known as the Plus. So it's gonna have the same horsepower, but it's gonna have 391 pound-feet of torque. Now, this engine is an option on this Colorado. So with that being said, the base engine comes with 237 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. Same displacement, turbocharged. All that power goes through an 8-speed transmission. I believe this truck has a 342 rear end, and the Silverado has 342s as well. Now, if you do want to get a larger engine, you have the 5.3, and you ready for this? You also have a diesel option. So that will be class leading between these two trucks, because obviously diesel is going to get more fuel economy on the highway. So in my opinion, I think that this is going to be something that's going to be very important for people to kind of see the performance this truck has. So I'm really excited to do that video. And hey, we haven't even talked about the weight of these trucks, so let's keep moving down the line here. Now, as far as the fuel tank capacity, this truck has like a 21 gallon. The Silverado is going to have a 24 gallon, so there's not a huge difference there. And the bed size, you can clearly tell a difference here. Now, one thing I like about the Colorado, this LT does still have an assisted tailgate, but they give you additional storage built into the tailgate, which I love. And I would say you could put a couple tools back here. You can put some of your things you don't use all the time, and it frees up extra stuff in the bed. You have 8 tie downs total in here. On this side, let's see, assisted tailgate. Both of these trucks can be optioned with a spray and bed liner. This truck does have the 120 volt plug. I typically see these in the Silverados. I don't think I've seen one on these lower trim levels, but like when you look at a Trail Boss or on the Canyon side of the house, Denali AT4, those typically have those power plugs. But yeah, this one has it here. And this bed is noticeably bigger when you compare it towards the Colorado. So if you do need that extra bed space, obviously the Silverado is going to give you that. You have more height, you have more depth, and I think this truck is going to have better payload when it's all said and done. Or maybe not, because this truck doesn't have four-wheel drive. Now, I just noticed that this Colorado does have the parking sensors and this Silverado does not. So that is available for the LT, so just keep that in mind. Class 4 receiving hitch on both sides of the house. And let's go ahead and check out the interior. The Silverado is going to have a telescoping steering wheel, power driver's seat, 10-way. And then the overall interior, this is a LT with, so this is not like a low trim level. This is actually a really upscale pickup truck. But it does still have things like cloth seats. You have a 12.3 inch display and a 13.4 inch display. Push button start does come standard on the LT and up pickups. And I have the seat all the way back. I can move it up just a slight bit. Now, this telescoping steering wheel, yeah, this does come in handy because I can push it in a little bit and just give myself more comfort here. So this truck is definitely a lot more comfortable for me. Like, I'm 6 foot 1 inch, I say. I'm not that wide. This seat for me is pretty comfortable. Let's go ahead and jump over to the Colorado. On this side of the house, by the way, both trucks have smart key system too. Blind spot monitoring is on the Colorado. I don't see that this truck has the blind spot monitoring, by the way. But yeah, this is definitely more basic, like more hard plastics on the door, although you do have soft touch where you would want it at. Same power windows, power door locks. However, the seat is manually operated. Now, something I want to show you guys here in this video is how much, you know, seat comfort you would have back here. Now, I'm 6'1". This seat does not need to be all the way back in this truck. By the way, 8-inch screen right there. And this is 11.3 inch screen, I believe. Push button start. Oh, do I not have the key? It'll tell me here in a second. I don't have the key. Hold on 1 second. Let's try that again. Now, this Colorado also has a telescoping steering wheel. I did a test with a Nissan Frontier. It did not have a telescoping steering wheel. I was very surprised because that truck, it took them a long time to redesign it, and I'm shocked they did not give it that one feature. Now, I'm gonna put the seat all the way back. Full disclosure, I'm 6'1". My seat is too far back. So if I were to bring it up just a little bit, right here, I am comfortable. You can still see I do have that bend in my leg, and the steering wheel is at the perfect position. Let's go ahead and check out the back seat here. So even with the seat up slightly, it is still pretty tight. Now again, I could probably go up maybe like another ½ an inch, but then I'd feel a little too close to the, you know, to the dash, things like that. So this truck is noticeably small. The headroom in here is definitely noticeably, you know, shorter. So let's go ahead and jump over to the Silverado, but real quickly, this truck does have dual climate control. It does not have heated seats or anything like that, but those features may be available. But of course, cruise control. This truck does have a lot of good features for the interior. Now for the Silverado, the seat is all the way back. And you see that? This is where the size difference comes in. This one does have a 6-passenger. You can get a double cab on these trucks too. And there's just a lot more comfort. I mean, the head space, so much better. But listen, everyone has what they need or what they're gonna use. Something that you need to consider about this truck as well is the amount of storage you have, like in the door. Even like, although this doesn't have a center console, this does have the option to have that, and it's a lot bigger. So you have storage below the seat if you don't get that center console, and you have storage right here, and even above. This truck just has a lot more storage space for those people who are pretty much pack rats. Even up here, a little bit of storage. And out back, even though this one doesn't have it, they do have a little bit of built-in storage below the seat. As far as the Colorado goes, storage inside the door is lacking. Also, center console is a little bit smaller. This does remove to give you more, but you don't have top storage here. But the glove box is pretty deep. And there's still a little bit of built-in storage behind the screen here. And that's really for your sunglasses, because they don't give you a spot above for that. In the rear, oh yeah, I forget, you have to pull this. There's not as much storage below the seat on this one. Now let's talk about pricing. Base price for this truck is gonna be $31,600. They're showing fuel economy to be right here. I don't think that this is that great for a mid-size pickup. And on the Silverado, this is where the Colorado wins 100%. You can save so much more money if you don't need this big of a pickup. Also, fuel economy is about the same as the Colorado. Now again, these have pretty much the exact same engine, except this one just has more torque. But when you think about the towing capacity and the amount of payload that this truck's gonna have, that's where this one wins. Now this truck on the curb, it weighs 5,041 pounds. It has almost 2,000 pounds of payload capacity. It's showing the conventional towing to be about 9,000 pounds. In the Colorado, this is how much it's gonna weigh, 4,418 pounds. Now this truck does have a pretty dang good payload capacity at 1,632 pounds. And then here are the other numbers here. But even when it comes down to the axles, this truck has 200 pounds less than the Silverado, so that's pretty good. I would venture to say this truck can probably tow safely 5,000 to 6,000 pounds. And if I were to buy a half-ton, the most I would go, this is just me personally, is 7,000 pounds. I think that's probably the most I would go with this type of truck here. But again, the Colorado is a really good addition to the marketplace. I think that this truck has gotten so much better in the past. I never really did videos on these trucks because I didn't like them. And I was gonna be biased because I don't really care for mid-size pickups. But what they've done with this redesign is great. The only thing I do wish is that they at least gave this truck either a detuned 3-liter diesel or kept running with the diesel option that they had on the previous truck. But I hope you guys liked the video. I think that for me, if I stopped towing, I would still pick the Silverado for me personally, because this truck just suits me better. And the Colorado, I think a lot of people are gonna find this truck more attractive because of the price point. And you can get slightly better fuel economy on the highway with something like this. But special shout out again to Jerry Seiner here in Salt Lake City. If you are in the market, these trucks are both available. And next video I do, we're gonna be doing a comparison for drive. See you guys soon.